round 10 of the Goodwin e-racing spring series. Today we come to you from the Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona. We are using the Gr2 cars running to BOP, so no tuning or setups apart from adjustable brake bias. We have completed qualifying with our usual one-lap shootout, so let's quickly run through the grid and see who's where. We have Cesaru on pole position in a Honda NSX, Dan in second in a Honda NSX, Matt in third with a Honda NSX, Richie in fourth with a Honda NSX, Eski in fifth with a Honda NSX. Sixth, we have Michael in a Honda NSX. Seventh, we have Mike in a Honda NSX. Eighth, we have Ming in a Honda NSX. Ninth, we have Zoe in a Honda NSX. 10th, we have Sean in a Honda NSX. 11th, we have the first non-Honda, which is Reed. He's a new member to the group. He's in the Audi. Then we have Dan in another Audi in 12th. Chavez in 13th in a Honda NSX. Then we have Simo in 14th in a Nissan GTR. Nathan in 15th in a Nissan GTR. And bringing up 16th place is Sparky in a Nissan GTR. So let's go back to the top and let's get this race underway and see who does what. So noticed it's a rolling start with these GR2 cars. They're just coming up to the start line now and away we go. So Cez leading off, immediately goes defensive against Dan and Matt. So Cez will lead us through turn one. Barcelona is one of these tracks where it cannot rain at. So we have the usual Goodwin e-racing series tyre rule in place, where if it's a track that it doesn't rain at, you have to use all three compounds of tyre. So we will see various different strategies going on during the race with tyres, particularly this high degradation tyre circuit at Barcelona. We've got two big long right hand bends which take the life out of the left hand tyre. So we've got Cez there leading on hards. We've got Dan in second on medium, Matt in third on medium, Richie fourth on hard, Eski fifth on medium. Right behind him we've got Michael just making a challenge and nips through, so we see what tyres Michael's on mediums. So Eski we've already covered being on mediums. Ming is on mediums as well. Zoe is on soft, so Zoe's going to make some early progress. Zoe seems to go for the soft tyres early stints, get herself track position, which is good. Ming we've got there on mediums. Sean we've got on hards. Reed we've got on mediums as well. Sean we've covered. Dan we've got on medium. Mike we've got on medium. Sparky on medium. Chavez on hard. And Simo on hard. So let's get back up to the top and we see that Dan has managed to get past Cez and taken the lead. That will be the difference in compound of tyres, I would have thought. Dan being on the medium and Cez being on the hard. So will Cez be able to hang on to Dan's rear bumper and not let him get too far away? But the race will come back to Cez because he's using the harder tyre now. So Cez is second there. Matt running in third. And Michael just nipping down the inside there, I think, of Richie. So we've got Michael up to 4th, Richie to 5th. So you may notice the similarity in livery between Matt and Michael's car. Matt and Michael were 2/3 of, or are 2/3 of Triple M Racing, which also would normally contain Manos, but unfortunately Manos had a prior commitment, so wasn't able to take part in this race. So hence just Matt and Michael there from Triple M, running very similar liveries. Matt's got the orange flashes on the car there. You can see behind Michael with the yellow. So Richie now running in 5th in his Ferrari Honda. Richie a bit of a fan of Lewis, so a nod to Lewis moving over to Ferrari in Formula 1. Eski there running in 6th, number 46. Possibly could be a fan of Valentino Rossi, I suspect. But yeah, I think so. Zoe running there in 7th on her soft tyres. And then Ming in 8th. So we've got the top 8 slightly breaking away now. We've got Reed there running first time with us in 9th position in the Audi DTM car. Mike running in 10th Honda, and Nath in 11th in the GTR. It looks like we've got a bit of a battle going on behind between Sparky and Sean. So Sparky's livery here, very reminiscent of a Nissan that I believe took part in the either the Japanese Touring Car Championship or the Japanese Super GT Series. There was one there sponsored by Pennzoil, I believe. He's closing up on Nath for battle for 11th and 12th places here. Oh, little bit of a touch there. Both goes, well, certainly Sparky, yeah, Nath gone spinning. Yeah, so they're both going to drop down through the field now. Sparky 15th and Nath down to 16th. Simo, as a result of that, has jumped up to 14th. I can hear more tyre squeals going on. He's down in his West Audi. Chavez in his Honda. So let's go back up to the front and see what's going on. Looks like Matt's managed to jump ahead of Says. So yeah, Matt running second. Says there in third. Michael in fourth. So top 5 possibly breaking away just a little bit. Maybe the top 6 or 7, 8. So we'll see how this race develops. So let's go back up to the top. Let's jump on board with a lap of Catalonia with Darren as he heads down to turn 1. Braking at about 100 metres, turning, going right, then left, and then the first of these really long right-handers, which absolutely crucifies particularly the left front tyre. Then the second one straight afterwards. So both of these two corners, both right-handers. So we've got these two right-handers here. Then we go through a couple of lefts, but they're slow speed corners, so they don't tend to wear the right tyres out quite as much. Through this little kink, through this left and right. Then we've got another fast right-hander here, which again puts more stress on the left-hand side tyres. Down the back straight. We do a sharp left-hand bend here, probably all the way down to first gear, yeah. And then through, this is just a quick kink, through another right-hander, and now we've got two last corners, the penultimate corner here, and the last one onto the start-finish straight. Both right-handers. So we can see there's a lot of right-hand bends here, which puts extra strain and load through that left-hand front tyre. And it's that left front tyre that's going to dictate the strategy as far as tyres is concerned for the race. But that was a lap of Barcelona in 1 minute 30.5 with Dan, who's leading the way. As you see there on the totem on the left, Zoe's already into the pits. So we'll see what Zoe does. So you see that left front tyre in the diagram in the bottom left hand corner of the screen there. Left front tyre is really well worn compared to the other three. So fuel going in. What tyres is Zoe going for? She goes out on the hards. So drop down to 15th place with just Nathan behind her. But everybody, as I say, has got to use all three compounds of tyre throughout the duration of this race. So Zoe's dropped from running 8th or 9th now down to 15th, but has made a stop. So we can see there from the track diagram in the top right hand corner there that really there's a gap now, quite a significant gap between 9th and 10th. So the top four are just coming down the start finish straight. 5th, 6th onto the straight now. 7th, 8th and 9th just coming on, and was 10th in Sean is just coming round 2 corners from home. So there's quite a gap now. So let's go back to the top. Dan leading the way, set the fastest lap of the race, a 1:29.8, and his last 2 laps have been a 1:30.5 and a 1:30.6. Matt running in second, doing very similar lap times to Dan, so there's no closing up or gaining from either of them. Says sitting there in third on the hard tyres. Says he's probably one of the fastest guys I've ever raced against. He is just absolutely metronomic in his lap times. There we go. Even despite the fact that he's on hard tyres, he's 0.25 of a second inside Dan's fastest lap. So Says he's now got those tyres and going really, tyres got warmed up and he's going really well. Starting to close back in on Matt for second. So there we go. Says across to set his personal fastest lap of the race at a 1:30.1. So still a couple of tenths shy of what Dan is doing, but Dan is on the slightly softer tyre on the mediums instead of the hards. Got Michael here running in 4th on the mediums. Tyres about half worn. So Says you can see on the hard, probably about a third worn. So there's 0.2 now inside the fastest lap of the race. And then Matt there on the mediums, you see how much more worn, particularly that left front tyre is, than Cheers. So there we are. Look back from Matt towards Says. So we can see Says chasing Matt. Like Says has got a run on Matt going down the straight. So pulls to the right hand side. And yeah, there we go. You see Says appearing there on the right hand side. So good little battle going on between Says and Matt for second and third. Well, in the meantime, Dan is still in the lead. Oh, Says has just gone a little bit wide. Open the door. Is he? Yeah, Matt's back up the inside. So really good battle going on. Nice and respectful. Plenty of room given to each of their opponents. So Says has done all the hard work. He's got to do it all again now. So chase back down. In the meantime, yeah, Dan's just going onto the back straight. So he's got a bit of a lead over Matt, who's got Says right behind him. There we go. Roof cam looking back. So where's Says do the same again and get a run through those last couple of corners onto the main straight. So here we go, onto the start finish. And Says getting closer and closer and closer and closer. Yeah, down the inside. Nice move there from Says. Michael's into the pits now on his medium tyres. So we can now see the strategy starting to unfold, where Dan and Matt were on the mediums and Says is on the hard. So the front left of Matt's, if we jump on board then with Says, you see he's only about half warm. And then Dan as well, probably just over half warm. So we've got Dan coming through onto the right hand. You can see Matt and Says in the background there. So pulling away from Richie now, who's jumped up to fourth because Michael's been into the pits. Esky up to sixth. Esky to fifth. Ming to sixth. Michael's made some progress after an early mistake, but you see his front left tyre is almost completely gone. Reed there running in 8th. Sean running in 9th. Dan in 10. Michael's dropped back to 11th but has stopped and he's back out on the hard tyres. Chavez in 12th. Don't think he's stopped by looks of things. Zoe, we know, has stopped on lap 7, so she's now back out on hards. Picked up a couple of places since she stopped. Simo running 14. Nath in 15th. Sparky in 16th, and with a 3-second penalty. So he's made a pit stop. He's obviously made an error coming into the pits. So if you cut the line either on the entry or the exit of the pits, you get a 3 seconds penalty. So Dan leading now, but he's now leading from Says. Matt right behind him. Still fairly close together, these two. Oh, Says got a bit twitchy there coming out of the hairpin. Bit keen to get the power down and start closing that gap down to Dan. Through the last corner. Matt looks like he's peeled into the pits there in the background. Yep. Gone into the pits from third place. So Matt's in the pits. There's Richie there. He'll jump up to fourth. Eski will go to... Sorry, Richie will jump to third. Eski will jump to fourth. So we go Matt. Let's see what he does with tyres. Fuel and tyres. So tyres are done. Fuel are going in. And away he goes. What tyres has he gone out on? And it's another set of mediums. So comes out in sixth place, was running third. So they've got Reed has just got ahead of Matt. But Matt has stopped. Reed, Eski, Richie, Says and Dan haven't. So Matt's the first of the front runners to make a stop. So we'll see how that shakes out. So we've got Dan still out there on his mediums. Says on hards. So we'll see when Dan's going for... Dan's got his fuel light on, so just going on to lap 14. So I suspect Dan will probably be into the pits at the end of this lap. Says has obviously been doing looks like he's been doing a bit of fuel savings, got a quarter of a tank left, so he could go a couple more laps at least, I would have thought. Looks like they've got Sparky in between the two of them, just putting a lap on him. So Richie there running in third in his Ferrari Honda. Eski in fourth in the Honda. Eski might come in this lap or the next lap, so end of 14, maybe onto 15. Reed is the first runner, doing really well, has got himself up into fifth place. He's the first of the non-Honda runners, so doing really well. Matt stopped, he's out on a set of another mediums. So running six, so the top five have yet to make a stop. So Matt's the first of the racers to have made a stop. Sean's got himself up into seventh. Down there in eighth with Michael challenging. Michael's stopped. Doesn't look like Dan has stopped, so Michael... There you go, Michael, that's new tyres for you. Michael's just gone right round the outside of Dan. We've got Mike just lurking behind as well. Then we got Chavez running 11th. Or was running 11th, so he's just nipped past. So we've got yellow flags out. Who's made a mistake? Who's gone off? Possibly Dan. He was running with Michael, so possibly Dan's made a bit of a mistake there. Got back out in 10th, just running ahead of Zoe, who's gone from the softest tyre to the hardest tyre. So Eski's in the pits. Dan's been in and out. Dan's just come out. There we go. Dan's just come out behind Matt. So that early stop, strategy stop from Matt, has jumped him ahead of Dan. Dan is on the soft tyre. So I would expect Dan to get in front of Matt at some point in the next couple of laps. He's got the softer tyre and probably set the fastest lap of the race, beating his 1:29.8. And go faster than that, I would have thought. So Matt and Dan there running are the first two to have stopped. Richie we've now got running in second, and Cesaru in first. So Cez's fuel light has now come on, so I would expect Cez to be in this lap. Richie running second so the top two now are running on hard tyres, which is what you'd expect the harder tyre to go further into the race. Matt on a second set of medium tyres, with Dan just behind him. So we'll keep an eye on. This is probably the closest battle on the track at the moment. So between 4th to 5th there's quite a gap. So we've got Dan just going through turn 1, and we've got Eski running 5th, just coming onto the start finish straight. Got Dan and Matt really close together here. Dan looking down the inside there, he's half a second up already on his fastest lap, which is what you'd expect, Dan being on the softer tyre. He's looking all over the place. Oh, Matt's just run wide, opened the door nicely for Dan. Dan's slipping one up the inside there. So Dan's now got back up into 3rd place. Matt running in 4th. Dan will probably now pull away, chase down those top two. He's on his soft tyre. So I think when those top two, in fact Cez is into the pits now. So when Cez and Richie stop, I would expect Dan probably to retake the lead. Matt possibly to jump ahead of Cez, and certainly jump ahead of Richie and take 2nd place. So Richie's in as well. So there we go, there's Cez stopping. Richie's yet got to reach the pit box. So let's see. Fuel going into the Cez car. Richie's just stopped as well. So there we go. Sure enough, Dan up to 1st, Matt to 2nd. Cez out on the pits on a set of mediums. So Cez has dropped back to 3rd. Richie will come out in 4th, because 4th to 5th there's quite a decent gap. Richie's out on a set of mediums as well. Matt there running 2nd in his Triple M Honda. So Dan is leading. So he's on his soft tyres. He's lowered his fastest lap of the race from a 1:29.9 to a 1:29.4. Looks like we've got Nath and Dan just coming up to be lapped. So Dan leading, and Nath just moving nicely out of the way. Thank you, Nathan. That's great driving. So Nath just coming into the pits by the looks of things. Matt running 2nd. Let's see if Dan takes the fastest lap of the race on this one. Yeah, he does. 1:29.162. So Dan's getting a shift on his soft tyres. Matt running 2nd, just coming up to put a lap on Nath. Nath moves out of the way, lets Matt and Cez go past. So we've got this battle again between Matt and Cez. See Cez again from Matt's rear bumper cam, and Cez looks like he's going down the inside again. There we go, Cez up to 2nd, Matt to 3rd. Through this fast right-hander. So now Dan 1, Cez 2, Matt 3, Richie to 4th, a little way back. But Richie has used the harder tyre. He's now running on mediums. So we've got Dan on soft, Cez on mediums, Matt on mediums, Richie on mediums, Eski on soft. So there's a possibility that Eski will start to close in on Richie, who you can see just ahead. We've got Mike running in 6th. He's on the hard tyres. So the top 6 are all in Hondas. We've got Reed here running in 7th, the first non-Honda, in his Audi DTM. He's on soft, so he's going to give Mike a bit of a hard time by the looks of things. In fact, he's just nipped by Mike. There we go. So Reed up to 6th, Mike down to 7th. We've got Michael in 8th. Oh, we've got yellow flags going on here. Who's gone off? Oh, Michael's gone off, unfortunately. I think there was somebody else off in front of Michael. Yeah, it looks like Simo. Yeah, Simo there. So Michael just ran wide, made a mistake. Zoe running 9th, still going on the hard tyres. So Zoe's made 1 stop so far. Lapping in 134, well, 133s, 134s. Ming running 10th, so Zoe's got pretty much the length of the straight. So we've got a battle going on here between Ming and Sean, by the looks of things. Sparky's got himself up to 12th in the Nissan. So we've got Chavez running here in 13th. Move to the right hand side. There's someone who's got blue flags. So let's see who's behind him. It looks like Dan, the leader of the race. So yeah, we've got Dan there in first place, coming up to put a lap on him. He's just run wide. Dan's gone through. Cesar's gone through. And Matt's gone through. So top 3. Dan running here in 14th. Nath in 15th. And unfortunately Simo having yet another spin, running in 16th. So that's coming onto the straight again. Simo's obviously just run wide, so we'll pop up back to Dan, who's leading. So you can see Cez there, starting to close the gap down now. Dan's left front tyre is really heavily worn. So he set the fastest lap of the race, but he's going to have to be into the pits to get rid of those tyres pretty soon. So he's 1.8 seconds off of his fastest lap there. That would just be purely down to tyre wear. So he's done a couple of 129s and then drifted back out into the 130s. So Cez is now starting to close him back down. So Cez is running on the medium tyres. So Dan will be into the pits either this lap or the end of the next one. So Cez is just getting faster and faster here. He's 0.4 of a second inside Dan's fastest lap of the race. He's right on Dan's tail now. You can see there, Cez, which you see slightly further back, Matt in the background as well. But I thought Cez will probably overtake Dan at some point around this lap. Simo off to the edge of the track again. Yeah, I think Dan's going to have to be in the pits this lap. Cez is all over him like a bad jacket. There we go, Dan into the pits. So Dan into the pits from the soft. It's Cez take the lead. Matt up to second there. He's got a half a second penalty that he's going to have to serve going down the back straight. Someone just coming out the pits just in front of Matt. See who it is. It's Zoe running in 12th. We see fuel going into Dan's car. See what tyres he goes out on. And out on a set of mediums. So Matt's not going to be long before he's going to be into the pits. He's running on a set of mediums as well. So we can see Sez just up in front. So Dan, by making that pit stop, dropped himself down to 5th. So Richie's up to 3rd. Esky to 4. Dan to 5, but he's out on a new set of mediums with a full tank of fuel. Mike now running in 6th on a set of hard tyres. Reed's just leaving the pits. And he's also out on a set of hards. So he should come off the softs and gone onto the hards. Comes out just in front of Sean running in 8th. Speedy's got himself up to 9th, so Speedy's having a good run. He's having a speedy run. Mings is 10th. Zoe 11. Got Matt just in front of her. So closing up on Ming. So Zoe has made another stop now and running 11th, full tank of fuel, and is now on the medium tyres. Michael's right behind Zoe, so these two are having yet another good scrap. Oh, they've just gone, both of them just gone past Ming. Oh, Michael's just run slightly wide. Will Ming get nipped back up the inside? Yep, there we go. So Zoe 10, Ming 11, Michael 12. Chavez is 13th, not that far off. Dan 14th, not that far behind. So 10th to 14th are all pretty close. Little gap between Dan and Nath running 14th and 15th. And it looks like we've lost somebody. I think we lost Simo. Maybe a disconnection or an issue. So it says leading now, half a tank of fuel on mediums. That left front's about half worn. Matt running in 2nd on mediums. That left front pretty well worn. Richie running in 3rd, got the hazard warning lights on and flashing his lights. Dan running in 4th on mediums. So I think Dan is the first one that's actually made 2 pit stops. So we will see how that shakes out when Sez, Matt and Richie make their 2nd stop. Dan will probably, because he's run the soft tyres, so Dan will probably take over the lead, I would think. So Dan's 0.2 up on the fastest lap of the race so far, which is currently his at a 1:29.162. Mike we've got running on 5th, so we've got a bit of a gap. We've got the top 4 breaking away. So we've got a bit of a gap. So Dan's just going through, just coming up to the right hander onto the back straight, and Mike's just coming out of turn 5, just coming up to the left hander here. So there's a bit of a gap between the top 4 and 5th. Mikey's kind of running on his own at the moment, but Esky looks like he's just made a pit stop. Got a full tank of fuel, was out on hards. Matt and Richie are into the pits now, so we'll see where they come out. Dan just looking to put a lap on the other Dan. I'm going to have to call them Dan 1 and Dan 2 for ease of identification. So Sez leading. Dan to 2nd. Matt to 3rd, gone out on hard tyres. Richie 4th, and Speedy right with him. It'll be interesting. Oh no, Speedy's just backed off a little bit, so Richie's come right out in traffic, which he didn't need. But I'm sure they will make way. So Richie's dropped down to 5th. So Mike actually has jumped Richie in the pit stops, but Mike must be due in fairly soon. Yeah, Mike's having a really, really good race. Last couple of races from Mike have been really, really good, and he's getting very much back on the pace. So Mike and Richie here battling for 4th and 5th. Matt just ahead of them, running in 3rd. Mike and Richie here. Richie's just got past Mike, back up into 4th. So Richie 4, Mike 5. Esky running 6. So there's quite a gap between. Oh, tyre squirrel going on in the background there. So Esky is quite a way behind Mike. Mike's just coming onto the start finish straight now. And Esky has just come out to a really sharp left-hander. So there's a gap between Mike and Esky, but Esky has stopped. And Mike is going to have to stop. So Speedy's just got back past him. We know that Speedy's on a fresh set of tyres because he came out the pits with Richie. Esky running 6 here. Having a really, really good race. Really good race from Esky. Sean running 7th, Reed right behind him, so great battle here for 7th and 8th. Says we can see he's just coming into the pits in the background. So what will Says do tyre wise? Let's have a look. Here he is into the box, car in the air, old tyres off, new tyres on, car back down, fuel going in. So currently on lap 27 with 20 minutes to go. Got out on another set of medium tyres. So Dan just, great, just come out right behind Dan. So we're going to have a battle here for 1st and 2nd. So we'll be keeping our eye on these, so we'll see how that work shakes out. So Dan in 1st, Says in 2nd, nothing between the two of them. But Says is on the very slightly fresher tyres and slightly more fuel. Matt running in 3rd on the hard tyres. Richie closing him down on the medium tyre. So Richie, oh, big twitch there from Rich. Twitchy Richie. So Rich will be closing down on Matt. So the top 4 are all pretty close together. Mike running in 5th, but looks like going to be due a pit stop on this lap. Esky running 6, all on his own. Then we've got Sean and Reed fairly close together in 7th and 8th. Michael about half a straight behind them in 9th, with Zoe in 10th, not far off the back of Michael. Then we've got Dan 11th, about the length of the just over the length of the straight behind Zoe. So we can see here behind Dan we've got the battle between Matt and Richie. Matt trying to pick a slipstream up from Dan. Dan realising what's going on, just backs off just before T1 and buys Matt a bit of time. Just has to turn in front of Richie there, unfortunately. So Richie will go around the outside at turn 3, which he's duly done. Speedy got himself up to 12th from starting in 16th. Chavez having a good race for him, running in 13th. Nath in 14th. So we've lost another one. Who have we? I don't know who we've lost. Who have we lost? So anyway, back to the top. We've got this fantastic battle now for first and second places between Dan and Sez. So you can see Sez there in the rear-facing camera of Dan's cockpit. So Sez lovely slipstream. Should see him appear on our, no, Dan holding the inside, so this battle continues. Says surely he's going to get past him. He's slightly quicker of the two drivers and on the fresher tyres. Dan defending very well though. So says okay, we'll go around the outside then. So if Says can stay on the left hand side there we go, should appear on our left hand side, just coming in, there we are. And Says now takes the lead. Lovely move there from Says, and respect from Dan as well, giving Says room to do it. Great racing between the two of them. You see Richie's managed to get up to third place as well, managed to get ahead of Matt, which Richie's on the medium tyre, Matt's on the hard. So the top four now, massive gap. So Matt and Richie are just heading down to the tight left-hander at the end of the back straight. Eski's running fifth and he's just coming up to turn 4. So they've got a huge lead over fifth place. So the top four are broken well away. So we've got Eski running fifth. We've got Mike running sixth. Those two are close together. So they're going to be having a good battle for the last 15 minutes of the race. Reed we've got running in seventh, a little way behind Mike. Then we've got Michael in 8th. Zoe in 9th. Zoe's got the blue flag, so I guess that will probably be Says coming up to put a lap on her. Sean running in 10th, so there's a bit of a gap there between Zoe, who's just going through the right hander onto the back straight, and Sean just coming through the left right. Dan running in 11th. Chavez in 12. Speedy in 13. And Nath just coming out of the pits on a set of soft tyres, running 14th. So Says, yep, Says just popping a lap there. On Zoe, just pull to the right hand side and let him go into turn 1. Dan running second, and then Matt and Richie third and fourth. So like Richie's just coming up to put a lap on Reed there, who's running in 10th. So Richie will now steadily be pulling away from Matt. He's on a medium tyre and Matt's on the hard. We've got the battle there, as you can see. Richie's in between the two of them, between Sean running in 9th and Reed in 10th. See if there's Matt. So we've got Michael now got ahead of Eski, running in 5th, Eski in 6th. So Mike is on the soft tyre, so Mike is going to have to stop again, because that soft tyre with that left front as it is won't get to the end of the race. He may well get there on fuel, but he certainly won't get there on tyre life. So he's got a half a second penalty there, which is just served. So that'd be for a track limit. So this could be close between Mike and Eski. So Eski is on hard with half a tank of fuel left and 12 minutes left. So Eski should be able to get to the end of the race with what he's got now. Mike, we know, is going to have to stop. Maybe not for fuel, because he's actually got more fuel on board than Eski, but his tyres will not get to the end of the race. Those soft tyres will not make the end of the race. So Mike is going to have to stop again. So he needs to get his foot down and pull out as much as he can. He's going to have to stop, certainly either at the end of this lap or the end of the next lap, and start chasing down Eski again. So that could be quite a close battle towards the end of the race. So we got Michael running here in 7th on mediums. May possibly have to stop again. He's only got just over a quarter of a tank of fuel, so that might not be enough to get to the end of the race here for Michael. Zoe is in a even worse position as far as fuel is concerned and may have to stop again. Tyre wise, yeah, I think Zoe's going to have to stop again here, but Zoe possibly has got the opportunity here of switching on to soft tyres. Michael's tyres as well, same boat, so Michael's going to have to stop again, because that left front's not going to get to the end of the race. So that could be, so I can see both of those two having to stop again and switch on to softs. Sean should be good to the end. He's on a set of mediums with half a tank of fuel and 10 minutes left, so Sean should be okay. Reed, likewise, he's in a good position, certainly on fuel and tyres. So the 9th and 10th will be a battle to the end of the race between Sean and Reed. Sparky running 11th. Yeah, mediums half a tank, so should be good to the end of the race. Dan running 12th, likewise, he's on a set of softs. 10 minutes. Yeah, he should be okay, half a tank, so should be okay to the end. Nath on softs, quarter of a tank. May need to stop. Don't think quarter of a tank is going to be enough to get to the end of the race. Chavez running 14th. On softs, half a tank, so he should be good to the end of the race. So I can see him jumping ahead of Nathan. Anyway, back to the top, we've got Cez running first on mediums. Yeah, it's going to stop again for a set of softs, I would think. Quarter of a tank, and that left front is pretty well worn. Dan, likewise, going to be stopping again, as is Richie. Matt's on the hard. Has not yet used the soft, so he'll have to stop again and take the soft tyre. Eski there running in 5th. So we've got this battle going on, although it's a distance battle between Eski in 5th running on hard and Mike running on, gone back out on a set of mediums and half a tank. Yeah, softs wouldn't have got to the end of the race for Mike, so this will be interesting. So he will be quicker than Eski and start closing him down. Dan's just gone into the pits there on his medium tyres. Michael's in as well, so I would imagine both of those two will be switching to soft. Richie's gone in the pits as well, and Matt's gone in the pits. So we've got second, third and fourth in the pits. Suspect they'll all be switching to soft tyres. Reed's jumped to 7th and Sean to 8th, but Michael's in the pits, switching to, I would imagine, to soft tyres. Zoe in 10th already on the soft, so we've got a battle here. There we go, we've got Zoe and Michael. So Zoe's coming the lap before, I would suspect, and has managed to jump Michael on strategy. So we've got a battle between Zoe and Michael to the end of the race. They've got quite a lead on Sparky, so they're going to be battling for 9th and 10th. So let's see. Says is on the mediums, so he'll be in. No, going for another lap on mediums. So he's got a decent lead now over Dan, but Dan is on the hard tyre now. So this will be interesting. So we know Richie's gone on to the soft. So Richie's going to be closing Dan down. So that'll be one to keep an eye on. And then we've got Matt, who is also out there on soft. So they're fueled to the end. So Matt there running full, just comes through the sharp left. Esky just coming through turn 5 and heading towards 6. So decent again, top 4 broken away. So we've got this bit of a battle going on between Esky and Mike. So will Mike be able to close that gap down to Esky in the last 5 minutes of the race? So what we've got through 5 minutes, maybe 4 laps left. So we've got a bit of a gap. So we'll see what happens there. Reed running a comfortable 7th. Oh no, Zoe's picked up a half a second penalty. So this is going to let Michael jump back in front. Michael's going for it at any rate, not sitting around, hanging around, waiting. So we are, Michael just down the inside. Zoe got Richie right behind them. Zoe doing the absolute great thing and just moving to one side and letting the faster car go. So Zoe down to 9th. And Michael up to 8th. Reed running in 7th. Michael in 6th, chasing down. Mike's just going fastest lap of the race. 0.3 of a second inside Dan's fastest lap at split 1, which is on the approach to turn 4. So Mike is going for it. He's trying to close this gap down to Esky, so we'll keep an eye on that. Matt running in 4th, Zoe just moving aside and letting Matt go. Great driving, Zoe, well done. Richie running in 3rd, so he's going to be closing down on Dan hand over fist. So can Richie close it down on Dan for a potential 2nd place? So Dan is on the hard tyre and Richie is on the soft. So let's have a look at their last lap time. So Dan was on a 1:31.7 and Richie set actually the fastest lap of the race on that last lap at a 1:28.494. So Richie is absolutely flying. So can he do? You can see Dan just going through the left-hander up in front of us. So will Richie catch Dan? Will Mike catch Esky? So loads of battles coming together towards the end of the race. So the only thing we can be fairly safe on is the fact that there we've got Cez leading just across the start line. Dan just coming through the final turn, but he's on the hard tyres. We've got Richie just coming onto the straight. So that gap is getting closer and closer and closer all the time. So what's Richie done now? He's done a 29.1. and Dan has done a 31.4. So Richie's taken just over 2 seconds, 2.3 seconds out of Dan's lead on that one lap alone. So this gap is coming down hand over fist. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Richie and Matt are on the same tyres, so that won't. So Matt's closing on Dan as well, but I think he's too far behind to get a sniff there on Dan. Eski running fifth, just coming around the penultimate corner. We've got 2 minutes to go, so we're gonna get this lap and one more. So he goes across the line now with about a minute. So we got this lap and potentially one more. So keep an eye. We've got Dan with Reed right behind him. Reed's a lap down, but he's on the softer tyre. So we've got this gap between Dan and Richie coming down, and then we've got this gap. This is fantastic. We've got this gap between Eski and Mike. So Mike's on the hunt, chasing Eski down, and keep an eye on this. See, that's a sight that you don't want to see. Mike in your rearview mirror chasing you down. He's having a look. Is he going? He's on the inside. But, oh, how close. Eski's got the inside for the left-hander. Oh, brilliant rate. Oh, just a slight touch between the two of them. But Mike's managed to go around the outside. So Mike's now up into 5th place ahead of Eski. 10 seconds left. Will they make it through for another lap? Don't think so. I think Mike might be the first one to finish here. Yeah, time's up. So yeah, Mike's the first to cross the line, finish 5th. Eski right behind. So that was the last lap. So fantastic last lap between Eski and Mike. So let's go back up to the top. So we've got Sez here coming through the penultimate corner. Out onto the start finish straight, and Sez takes the win at Circuit de Catalunya in the Gr2. So Dan coming through in second. Richie didn't quite get close enough. Dan's just coming through the last corner now onto the start finish straight. Reed in 7th behind him. So Dan second, Reed third, Richie third. Matt coming through in 4th. So Matt 4th, Mike 5, Eski 6, Reed 7, Michael 8th, Zoe 9, Sean 10, Speedy 11, Dan 12, Chavez 13, and Nathan 14th. So an absolutely fantastic race there from the GR2 cars at Barcelona. So next week we move on to Tokyo East. We are back in the GR3 cars with full tuning. Speedy just crossing the line there to finish 11th. So absolutely fantastic race there. So Sez 1, Dan 2, Richie 3, Matt 4, Mike 5, Eski 6, Reed 7, Michael 8th, Zoe 9, and Sean in your top 10. So we will see you all next week, where we will be coming to you, as I say, from Tokyo East, and we are back in the GR3 cars. See you later.